No, thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. I just want to bring to the attention of the House that in terms of Rule 164, a member of the committee is the one that is supposed to actually present a report of a committee. But however, if a member of a committee delegated is the one that delegates a member to approve, there is nothing wrong with that, including a member that is actually supporting any report. There is no rule that says it is the member of the committee that must actually approve or second the report. Maybe what we need to argue is whether the report is a true record of what the committee has actually agreed upon, instead of arguing the names and the members that are presenting. But let me acknowledge the Honourable Premier, the presiding officers, MECs, Deputy Chief Whip, leaders of political parties, members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature and chairpersons of committees, our guests in the gallery, ladies and gentlemen, especially those that are following our debates through all social media platforms, and the people of Gauteng. It is an honor and a privilege to stand in this august house as I present the 2022-2023 Gauteng Provincial Legislature Annual Report to the people of Gauteng. The presentation of this annual report provides a brief account of our achievements for the period under review, as well as an outlook of our vision going forward. On behalf of the entire Gauteng Provincial Legislature, allow me to congratulate once more Captain Siyakolisi and the team for bringing the 2023 Rugby World Cup trophy home. We are proud of our rugby team for their sterling performance. We also congratulate Captain Themba Bavuma for taking the national cricket team, the Proteas, to the semi-finals of the 2023 Cricket World Cup. It is unfortunate that we only reached the semi-finals, but nonetheless, we still congratulate the team, because other teams or other countries could not even reach the semi-finals. We also want to congratulate the Blitzboks for having had 3 wins in a row. Let us also congratulate Mamelodi Sundowns for an amazing 2023 season. Undoubtedly, Sundowns, Bafana Style, as they are popularly known, remains the best South African team. We congratulate them for winning the first edition of the African Football League. Please don't confuse me. I am not a fan of Mamelodi Sundowns, but they represent our country at the continental level. Well, I will tell you outside of this session. These results bear strong testament to the positive effects that transformation in sports brings. Not only does it improve performance on the field, but it strengthens social cohesion of the field too. We therefore look forward to more rugby and cricket clinics in previous disadvantaged and township schools. We also welcome the newly appointed Public Protector Advocate Kollega Galega, and as GPL we have already met with her. We stand confident that Advocate Galega will bring increased stability to the Public Protector's Office. As the GPL, we have a good working relationship with the Office of the Public Protector, as well with all Chapter 9 and 10 and other institutions supporting democracy. As such, we welcome Advocate Galega and wish her a productive tenure in discharging her responsibilities of being the protector of the people. Allow me, Chair of Chairs, on behalf of the GPL and all peace-loving people, to commend the South African government and Minister Pando for recalling our ambassador and mission staff from Israel. This is indeed a principled position that goes well beyond religion or culture. It is about crimes against humanity and the perpetration of war crimes. It is about human rights and the flagrant violation of international law, the Geneva Convention and the Rome Statute. The open, planned, deliberate and determined killing of innocent civilians, non-combatants, especially children and the elderly, should be beyond the rationality of any sane human being. We commend the ANC-led government for not tolerating such behavior and coming out strongly and firmly against the atrocities perpetrated by apartheid Israel. Somebody even asked a question to all our Christians who say, do you still call yourself the children of Israel? especially as we South Africans understand what apartheid brutality is, and as such will never stand by and condone apartheid Israel brutality on the Palestinians or in any other region of the world, wherever such brutality may exist. In the words of our former President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, we know too well that our freedom can never be complete without the freedom of the Palestinian people. Tata, we hear you and we remain true to your cause, especially tomorrow as we are going to be commemorating your passing on. Today, the 4th of December, is indeed a historic date, for on this very day back in 1996 that our Constitution was adopted. The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa is regarded as one of the most progressive constitutions in the world. The process that led to its approval was not an easy one. In his seminal work, our dear comrade President Oliver Tambo and the foundations of the South Africa's Constitution, Andre Odendaal, informs us that unknown to the world, after declaring 1986 as the year of Umkhonto weSizwe, the People's Army, marking the 74th anniversary of the African National Congress, the soft-spoken science and mathematics teacher, aspirant Anglican, turned revolutionary, was none other than the late President Oliver Reginald Tambo. May his revolutionary soul rest in eternal peace. He set more discreet plan in place by launching a 7-member think tank called the Constitutional Committee in Lusaka. The culmination of that work, combined with other pillars of struggle, mass mobilization, armed struggle, underground structures, and international isolation of apartheid colonial regime, led to the unbanning of the liberation movements, release of political prisoners, return of exiles, lifting of the state of emergency, among other things, and set in motion the Convention for a Democratic South Africa 1 and 2, were held between 21st of December 1991 and May 1992, and attended by various interested and affected political parties. After the collapse of CODESA II, a multi-party negotiating process began to pursue the issues that CODESA failed to resolve. Today, the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa is the highest law in the Republic of South Africa. It can be said that every word in our Constitution was written with the blood of the many freedom fighters that have laid their lives in the fight against brutal apartheid regime. It is in terms of this very Constitution that we can gather in this august house called the Legislature. It is in terms of this progressive apex piece of legislation that we derive our mandates as the GPL. It is in this Constitution that we find our Bill of Rights. Let us never take this for granted. Let us understand the importance of this day, and accordingly, let us never abandon the Constitution and its core values and principles. This is the collective embodiment of the voices of our people. The signing of the Constitution symbolized a peaceful transition from apartheid brutality and inequality to democratic and majority rule based on the Bill of Rights. It symbolized a transition from subjugation into a truly non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous South Africa, united in our diversity. As we mark that historic occasion, we need to reflect as members and as the legislature on the progress in advancing our democratic agenda. The many challenges, including gender-based violence and femicide faced by women and children, high levels of unemployment, especially amongst young people, inequality and poverty, should spur us as elected public representatives to up our game and always think about the people we represent and always act in their best interest. Honourable Chair of Chairs, as we approach the end of the 6th term in the legislature, I thought it prudent not only to focus on the year under review only, but instead to track our journey from the start of this term against our 5-year strategic plan. The 6th term strategic plan of the institution was characterized by a deep focus on efficiency and effectiveness. We can recall previous strategies of the institution that were developed in line with multiple goals and numerous performance plans at all levels. However, we now notice a streamlined 5-year strategy developed against a single institutional goal and the objective to improve the quality of life of all South Africans and reduce of inequality, poverty and unemployment as espoused in the National Development Plan. To realize these noble objectives, the GPL identified 5 strategic outcomes aligned to the constitutional mandates. And these are enhancing oversight and accountability towards service delivery, lawmaking to become more proactive and responsive to the needs of the people, enhancing meaningful public participation, improving alignment and collaboration between organs of state, enhancing compliance with all relevant fiduciary requirements and principles of good governance. It is against this backdrop of these strategic outcomes that we have planned exceptional performance for the 6th legislature. And then COVID hit. This was something nobody could have ever predicted. We heard about the lockdown in one province in China, and then in 2020, at the very start of our 5-year strategy, South Africa too was not spared. As GPL were but a cog in this violent global tempest, it was as if the end had come and we were defeated. It was as if we had no option but to surrender, to give in, to give up. But then again, we are South Africans. We have been through much worse and survived. We are a nation of resistance, resilience, and survival. We are a people of triumph against all odds. And like a phoenix, we rose from the ashes all around us. The GPL focused on agility and innovation to continue its operations, relying more on the technology that it had put in place and implemented virtual and online platforms to ensure the safety and security of our members and staff and to continue serving our people. The House and committees were enhanced to operate fully virtually and engage the public through online platforms, including social media channels, and we put systems to adapt to the new normal. It is against this backdrop and despite unprecedented odds that we still managed to register excellent performance throughout this term. This is no small feat. The progress registered shows that we have made steady and substantial progress throughout the term. On oversight, while using all oversight instruments, the House committees exercised robust oversight over the provincial executive from planning up to reporting, scrutinizing annual plans and the budget spending through quarterly performance reports, unannounced oversight visits, and the focused intervention studies. The legislature adopted 159 SOM oversight reports comprising quarterly oversight, budget oversight, annual oversight, and focused intervention study reports in 2022-23, and a total of 630 to date, and 21 FIS for 2022-2023, and a total of 76 to date. The FIS reports encompass a diverse range of critical topics to foster progress and prosperity in the province, ensuring equitable service delivery and sustainable development for all citizens. These oversight reports culminate in resolutions of the House which serve to direct the executive towards enhanced service delivery to the people. Approximately 500 responses to the House resolutions have been received, of which 70% has already been considered by GPL committees during the period under review. Additional oversight tools include questions and motions, and during the reporting period, a total of 57 oversight question papers were produced and communicated to the executive to seek accountability on the questions raised by the legislators, translating to over 1,000 questions during the period under review. 5 substantive motions were also considered by the House. The GPL has initiated the standardized oversight, accountability, and reporting in Gauteng. This is known as SOA GP, which is a sector first whereby the GPL partnered with the executive to standardize the way the executive will account to the GPL and the way the GPL will oversee the executive. The project has resulted in formats of executive reports to the GPL and GPL committees reports to the House, standardized in line with standardized focus areas aligned to the GPL, provincial priorities, and the National Development Plan. Committee performance is also assessed and reports presented to the quarterly review sessions of the Standing Committee of Chairpersons in a peer review fashion. In addition, oversight reports from institutions supporting democracy are also considered by the Standing Committee of Chairpersons. The legislature needs to find creative ways to utilize these reports from the ISDs to strengthen oversight and hold the executive accountable. With respect to lawmaking, the GPL has the primary constitutional mandate to make laws that govern the province of Gauteng. In the period under review, 4 bills were and 5 regulations were approved. The report on the efficacy of lawmaking, identifying challenges and strengths in the lawmaking process, was considered to improve the lawmaking process. As part of the national lawmaking process, GPL considered a total of 17 Section 76 bills from the National Council of Provinces and 7 provincial bills. The Feasibility Study on Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act and a project plan is being finalized for the implementation in the 7th Legislature to effect amendments to the money bills as envisaged by Section 120 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Based on the amendments of Schedule 3 of the Electoral Act and submissions of GPL to the IEC, it is pleasing that GPL will have 80 members instead of the current 73. The administration is already planning seamless transition from the 6th to the 7th Legislature and ensure that our policies, processes, systems and structures are geared towards support of all members that will be elected in the 2024 general elections. With respect to public participation, there has been a huge increase in outreach and public education workshops. More than 100 public education workshops were conducted on the GPL in the reporting period alone. We are also happy that considerable progress has been made by the Petitions Committee to address the backlog inherited by the 6th Legislature and addressing current petitions. The initiative of balkanization of the petitions is beginning to yield desired results. However, there has been a notable decline in the accuracy and consistency of reports from departments. But I'm glad to indicate that the committee led by Honourable Chairperson of that committee is actually following up on those particular matters. In the period under review, 117 new petitions were accepted and adopted by the Petition Standing Committee. It is important to note that petitions being submitted to the GPL because of unresolved challenges at local government level. The increase in submission of petitions also points to the confidence that people have in the GPL as a beacon of hope in resolving their day-to-day issues. 5 sector parliaments were arranged to hear the voices and concerns of different sectors and to foster inclusivity, empower diverse voices, and emphasize our dedication to a shared, brighter future through public participation. GPL is developing strategies to ensure that participants in its activities truly reflect the non-racial, non-sexist, and united South Africa that we are aspiring to build. To date, from the beginning of the term, GPL has reached out and engaged to well over 1 million people in Gauteng on various issues of importance to the respective communities. With respect to cooperative governance, the GPL has also had a responsibility in fostering the cooperative and collaborative relationship towards a transformative legislative sector. These collaborative platforms are facilitated at global, national, provincial, and municipal levels to share best practices and for development and enhancement of norms and standards in the legislative sector. Partnerships and working relations have been established with ISDs, the SALS, South African Association of Public Accounts Committees, South African Local Government Association, Department of International Relations and Cooperation, National Council of State Legislatures, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, local municipal councils through GSF, to mention but a few. Some of these relations come with national and continental responsibilities. Honourable Member Kanyile has been elected as the Secretary of SAPAC, and recently SAPAC hosted a historic and successful Southern African Development Cooperation Public Accounts Committees, which was very, very much successful. And the Speaker of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature was also elected as a regional treasurer of CPA in Africa, and these achievements lend strong testimony and confidence to the leadership of this fine institution. On strengthening good governance and fiduciary compliance, all our constitutional obligations, discharge of mandates, and confidence in leadership and management will be eroded if such achievements are not realized within the ambit of the law and in line with good governance practices, processes, as well as policies. Good governance is the cornerstone of any legislature, as it ensures transparency, accountability, and the overall well-being of the society it represents. We have been committed to upholding the principles of good governance in every aspect of our functions. We have an established Legislature Services Board with committees such as Audit and Risk, Performance and Remuneration, and Human Resource and Development, which are seen as best practices. We are proud that these committees and dedicated, professional, and hard-working men and women have improved scrutiny of the administration, provided guidance and support to the administration, and made immense contribution to the improved performance of GPL, leading to yet another unqualified audit with no matters of emphasis, which is called the clean audit. Chairs. The quality of submitted annual financial statements and performance information, including the financial health and supply chain management, had positively contributed to sustaining the clean audit outcomes. We have also sustained our positive performance in the areas of core business, committee performance and reporting, compliance with legislation, strategic planning and supply chain management. We have fared well on the levels of assurance provided by the Executive Authority and presiding officers, the governance structures and the entire administration. We express our sincerest appreciation to the Legislature Services Board and its committees, especially the external independent members whose expertise, leadership, guidance and contribution are immensely appreciated. The collective contribution of these oversight and implementing structures administration enabled the institution to install and implement the necessary internal controls to record an 83% achievement of planned targets to the period under review. Let me also, once more, on behalf of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, pass our condolences on the passing of one of the independent members, Mr. Fihlani, who has passed on and was buried 2 weeks ago. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Whatever contribution that he has made to improve the work of the legislature will forever be remembered. However, while we bask in the success of yet another sustained clean audit for the GPL, we have already embarked on the development of audit strategy to implement recommendations by the Auditor General to improve and strengthen our processes and further enhance our oversight. In line with the codes of conduct, members and GPL staff declared to disclose their financial interest. Relevant sections of members' disclosures were published to ensure transparency and openness. On supporting and capacitating our elected representatives in this reporting period, members' capacity building initiatives focus on support to elected representatives, political party support, constitutional support, and support through party administration structures. Each political party represented in the legislature signed a memorandum of agreement with the Secretary of the legislature, and the implementation was monitored and reported accordingly. Internal arrangement committee and stakeholder engagements sessions were organized to hold the GPL administration accountable for the support provided to represented political parties. GPL has adopted a tightrope approach financial management, focusing on value for money, stretching one rand before spending another, and the reduction of unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. Where UIFW may have occurred, investigations are conducted and recoveries are taking place. We have embarked on a groundbreaking and ambitious plan of value creation to ensure sustainability of this enabler of democracy that we know as the GPL. The initiative is driven by the 3 Ps, which is purpose, people, and performance. We will refocus our purpose as a legislature as we democratize planning, improve ownership of GPL strategy, to improve performance and making it agile and resilient to overcome any political and administrative changes, and align the structures, policies, systems, and processes accordingly. The project is at an advanced stage with the draft macro and micro structures almost completed in preparation for consultations with oversight committees and organized labor. We are happy to report that Gauteng Infrastructure Fund Agency, famously known as GIFA, has completed the space optimization feasibility study, providing GPL options to consider. Management preferred the options of refurbishment of GPL. This option provides for public-private partnership of about 360 million over a 2-year period concession. Management has considered the proposal, and a follow-up meeting with GIFA is scheduled for the 11th of December 2023. The lease at such building has ended and staff has been moved to the main building whilst others continue to work remotely. Chair of Chairs, it is now common cause that the GPL, the province, South Africa, and even the world at large is experiencing substantial socio-economic challenges. Just recently, the National Treasury issued stiff guidelines to all government departments to drastically reduce spending, freeze new appointments, to prevent bloated structures, and reduce the wage bill, reducing usage of consultants, and the cut out on all essential travel. This position was further emphasized by Finance Minister Gauteng during the medium-term budget policy statement. It is therefore unavoidable that we make the difficult choices to ensure that this beacon of hope remains sustainable and continues to serve the people of Gauteng well into the future, long after our time has lapsed. GPL has also developed a budget guide in line with previous calls to use the public resources economically, efficiently and effectively. We will continue with this practice to respond to fiscal constraints. It is, however, important that as we approach the 30th anniversary of our democratic breakthrough, we reflect on the role of the legislature as a preeminent organ of state, how it executes its mandates, and how is it resourced to effectively represent the will of the people. The legislature holds a central and primary role of representing the interests of the people, providing oversight on the executive branch, responsible for making laws, exercise budgetary control, checks and balances. As reflected in the State of Capture report, the ability to hold government accountable for its actions is a fundamental pillar of democracy. We need to adequately resource the legislature to safeguard principles of democracy and ensure the effective functioning of our governance system. In line with the Latima principles adopted by the heads of government and states in 2003 in Abuja, Nigeria, recognizes the need for legislatures to have adequate resources to fulfill their functions effectively. Legislatures should have autonomy and control over their own budgets. Legislatures should adhere to best practices of financial management, including transparent budgeting, auditing and reporting, the fair and non-partisan allocation of resources, and most importantly, legislatures should be protected against any arbitrary reduction of their funding by the executive. Any changes in funding should be based on objective criteria and through transparent and consultative processes. This is important to understand, as the legislature budget has over the past four years been reduced by about 200 million rands. These reductions have a negative impact on the functioning of the legislature and will be felt even more as we transition to the 7th legislature. The 7th legislature seats will increase to 80. I hope some of you will come back. I wish you all the best. There will be a need to develop funding model to support elected representatives, political parties as well as including independents if they were to be elected, review of all policies, systems, processes, the standing rules, and so forth, and provide orientation, induction, and training of members, maintain a competent, skilled, and knowledgeable staff, create additional space, renovate the decaying national heritage, which is this building. These issues were shared with Provincial Treasury, and it was a surprise when the MEC pronounced that the legislature did not make a compelling case. Some of these changes cannot be put in abeyance for longer. We implore upon the MEC and Provincial Treasury to earnestly engage with us and find amicable solutions in line with the principles of the Latima House and financial management of Parliament and provincial legislatures. Honourable members, as we stand in this August House, 3 decades after our democratic breakthrough, being fully considerate of the challenges that face us, it is still important that we still commemorate 30 years since our democratic breakthrough. The 30th anniversary of the democratic breakthrough is a significant milestone that deserves a memorable and meaningful celebration. We note that the celebration will take place during heightened election campaigns and will be a contested terrain. We will link the GPL commemoration to national celebrations with unique characteristics of Gauteng. It is only apt that we be justifiably proud of our victory over the repressive, brutal apartheid regime, which through our will, determination and resilience, we managed to defeat 3 decades ago. The apartheid monster we defeated enabled each person in our country to have a vote. The right to vote is a right that was hard fought for over many years, and it is a right that many people have laid down their lives for. This is no ordinary thing that should be taken for granted. Therefore, it is my appeal on behalf of the broader GPL that we ourselves firstly register in order to vote and remind all those that are eligible to do so as well. If we do not register, we cannot vote, and we do not vote, and we give up our right to have a say on who governs our country and how it is governed. We have already been organizing numerous voter education and registration campaigns for this particular purpose. This is indeed a hard-fought right. So let us not give up, register to vote, and then when it is time to vote, do so without fail. I'm also talking to the citizens of Gauteng and our guests sitting in the gallery. Let us for a moment consider the oppressed people of Palestine, for whom an equal right to vote is a far-off thought, let alone a wish, and even lesser so, a foreseeable reality. Through this address and the achievements I have outlined from the beginning of this term, I am confident that we remain firmly on course to deliver a purpose, people and performance-driven institution that stands as a beacon of hope and the cradle of democracy well into the future. We remain committed to the development of a GPL of the future comprised of members who are public representatives in every way, sort and form, who would care less about being served, but rather who would care more to serve. In this way, we'll be able to extend our oversight deeper and penetrate our public participation further, so that our generations and theirs after them will be able to enjoy the fruits of our robust and well-functioning democracy. As I have said at the beginning, this is our last annual report to be presented in the 6th term. My fellow presiding officers, together with all members of this legislature, through robust debates, constructive criticism, and constant collaboration, we have walked in this journey besides me in the leadership and presiding over this fine institution. For that, I am eternally grateful. The oversight structure such as OCPOL and the LSP have always discharged their duties with excellency as well as dedication, holding the legislature to account without fear, favor, or prejudice. The LSP and its contribution as an added layer of good governance and fiduciary compliance can never be overstated. The LSP, its committees, and the independent members remain committed to the smooth operations, management, and leadership of the institutions. We are reminded of the numerous occasions where the LSP was quick to call GPL to account and keep the institution firmly on the tracks of exemplary governance. I wish to express our collective appreciation to the GPL administration for all the sterling support and service over the years to ensure that my task of leading and presiding over the GPL was enabled, facilitated, and made easy. I have no doubt whatsoever that you will provide a similar level of support and even better to the 7th legislature and beyond as well. To the people of Gauteng, my message is quite simple. This institution called the GPL is in good hands, but it is dead and meaningless without you. It would merely be a shell of brick and mortar. You, the people of this province, give meaning to the legislature through your involvement, interaction, and partnership. Remember, this is your legislature. Own it. Hold it to account. Where there are service delivery challenges, do not take your frustrations to the streets. Bring it here, because it is indeed a preeminent organ of state that serves as the beacon of hope to you. The people are our most important stakeholders. Honourable Chair of Chairs, addressing our challenges and strengthening our opportunities, even though the 6th term is ending, the GPL journey will never end. It will go on and further. In addition to the successes and achievements outlined above, and as has been previously reported, we continue to identify weaknesses and enhancement which we continuously try to improve on going forward. We'll focus on the following areas to enhance our performance. We'll review the standing rules to strengthen accountability, responsiveness of the executive and timely responses to questions, implement the findings and recommendations of the study into the assessment of some implementation in the institution and lessons learned, and share experiences with the sector, enhance efficiency and turnaround times for lawmaking, work with constituency offices and elected public representatives to enhance our outreach and public participation, to create awareness about the role of the legislature and reach out to other national groups to reflect the national racial society we are aspiring to build. We'll deepen relations with all our stakeholders and municipal council. Future-proof of the strategy to make it resilient and agile to withstand any political or administrative changes and align the structure, policy systems and processes to the strategy. Strengthen our internal controls and address recommendations by AXA to ensure sustainability in audits. Will improve the competency, capability, skills and knowledge of appointed officials and elected public representatives to further improve performance of GPL. Will create a safe and conducive environment for work, including employee wellness, strengthening the relationship between organized labor and management, consequent management and resolution of the 13th check, which is in the Labour Court. Enhance provincial oversight by improving performance of the GPL's oversight committees. Will implement recommendations of the feasibility study on the Money Bills Amendment Procedures and Related Matters Act. As I conclude this address, which I dedicate to all those who are oppressed in any way, sort or form in our province, country, and the entire world, we remain strongly focused on the plight of the Palestinian people. I invite all to listen to a sobering clip by the people's poet Mekgwe titled, I quote, "Plight of Palestinians." Let us all be reminded by the inspiring words of the former president of the African National Congress on the formation of Umkhonto weSizwe and the adoption of the armed struggle in South Africa against the brutal apartheid regime, which is as follows, I quote, "At the beginning of June 1961, after a long and anxious assessment of the South African situation, I and some colleagues came to the conclusion that as violence in this country was inevitable, it would be unrealistic and wrong for African leaders to continue preaching peace and non-violence at a time when the government met our peaceful demands with force. This conclusion was not easily arrived at. It was only when all else had failed, when all channels of peaceful protest had been barred to us, that the decision was made to embark on violent forms of political struggle and to form Umkhonto weSizwe. We did so not because we desired such a cause, but solely because the government of the day had left us with no other choice. In the manifesto of Umkhonto weSizwe, published on the 16th of December 1961, we said, "The time comes in the life of any nation when there remains only two choices, submit or fight. That time has now come to South Africa. We shall not submit, and we have no choice but to hit back by all means in our power, in defense of our people, our future, and our freedom." I close quote. Therefore, as fellow survivors of apartheid brutality, we say to the Palestinian freedom fighters, it is only right to defend yourselves from brutal oppression, not since the 7th of October 2023, but oppression and dehumanization for the better part of the last century. Continue the good fight. We remain with you in thought, prayer, and support. We support you, and we do so unapologetically. We do so with pride. Never submit to oppression. Never give in to tyranny. Never bow down to apartheid. Aluta continua. Continue the good fight so that power returns to the people. Amandla. Honorable Chair of Chairs, allow me to wish all honorable members of the House and their families, the GPL employees and their families, the people of Gauteng, a restful and pleasant Christmas season. May you be protected and preserved. I thank you.
Hail the Speaker! Hail the Speaker!
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.